Hey guys, Cole here. Welcome back to Watcher of Realms. We've got the Treasures of the Deep shop, and I wanted to make a small tier list for you guys to help you out there in the decisions you want to be making in the next week or so. Well, 5 days until the event is over. These are very difficult to acquire because you need to be farming, well, the challenge mode, the hardest difficulty that you can every single day. And whether that is worth it for new and whether you have the resources, it's a whole different thing. It does take a lot of time to farm them, and H5 and H6 are very difficult. I'm currently only able to farm H4 on my own account. So that gives me 120 of these dead man's doubloons per run. And you can do 5 runs per day. So that is a good amount, but not enough to buy everything in the shop, right? So I can get about 600 per day at the minimum when farming this stage. And if you go higher, you get a little bit more and a little bit more. And by the end of it, you should have a good amount of doubloons to use up. Here is my thoughts on this. All of these rewards are great, and some of these are very specific on how to use them. Especially the Abyssal Pact, which is basically the ability to do one more run. So you use up 100,000 of your gold to do one more run and get 120 or 140, 160 or whatever the amount is of doubloons for that amount of gold. Is that worth it for you? We'll have a look right now. So let's start out with the epic right here, or Siren. He is available through summons, of course, very specific summons right now through the banner. He has a 10x chance to get him. He's a mage. Magic has a pretty good, range here for a mage, but is it for me something that you should be looking at to get? He is an AoE mage, so his A1 attack is not single target. He does like a big damage in an area, and that damage is proportionally grows as he gets that ground effect going, and he does more AoE damage, deals 30% extra damage to targets with HP below 50%. So overall, like a solid mage to consider. His cost is quite high though, not the highest, but it's quite high for a mage. So you'll also have to consider what other opportunities you have when placing mages on the battlefield instead of this guy. And looking at his cost, this is a 3,500 cost of doubloons. You get a lot of these doubloons also from the treasure quest, but these eventually they'll be over, and the biggest amount you'll be getting is through summons. So if you don't do the summons, you won't have the thousands upon thousands of doubloons to use. And this cost of 3,500 makes it a very difficult choice for me. This is only for the people who will absolutely not have a mage to use, which I doubt is a thing because of all the amount of summons we get throughout this game. Even the free-to-play and the mid-low spenders, they will get a mage eventually that is worth the effort of upgrading. So this guy Osiren, although he looks cool and all, I think he's not worth it, and it only is maybe for upgrading your collection of mages. So if we drop on to, here it is, my tier list, I think Osiren goes to maybe the no category. I have a no category as well, which is like the absolutely do not buy this at any time. So I think Osiren is not worth it for the 3,500 cost. I think it's way more than it should, and the biggest prize of actually the whole shop right now is this one right here, the Olag's Wall. Okay, the mythic artifact that you can use on, well, not just Olag, but you can use on any defender out there. So if you do have Olag, then it's great. You can just give it to him, but if you have somebody else who would benefit from this, this is huge. Mythic artifacts have only a 20% chance to be crafted, I believe, through the highest version of the forge, right, for the mythic artifact. So this is very difficult to get. Well, mythic artifacts overall, very difficult to get, very expensive also to farm in terms of energy, and this amount is way less than the epic. So 3,000 of these doubloons should be your goal, I would say, to go for it, especially if your defender needs that extra block. Okay, having a 4 block can be huge sometimes because you block 4 enemies. You won't need to place 2 defenders back to back in order to block the 4 enemies that are coming, and it could be amazing in many situations, and it gives you all those extra stats. Mythic artifacts is the highest quality we have in the game right now, so I think this is number 1 in terms of priority, and that's what I will be getting after, because I already bought the summons because I wanted to do summons. Right? I'll explain that in a little bit. So going back to my tier list, yeah, this goes to number 1. I think it's a must buy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this feels like a very good choice for the amount of doubloons that you're spending and how rare it is in the game to acquire. Mythic extracts is something that I also find very rare in the game, and because the cost right now seems to be well worth the effort. This is basically 2 days of farming, well, less than 2 days, and especially if you can buy these. All right, you buy 5 of these and you can farm a stage that gives you 100 or more, then that equates to 500,000 gold for one of these mythic extracts. Mythic extracts are very difficult to get, and they have a price of 400 gems through the black market shop. So having that in mind, mythic extracts is also something that I consider like a good value when going for this one. I won't say it's a must, but it's a good value, especially if you are just starting out. You are farming the promotion rates, but the drop rate there feels like a 5% drop rate per run to get a mythic extract, and I've never seen a double drop, although it is possible, right? So I put them on the okay list. Then it's, of course, the summoning crystals. I think these are a must. Their price is not that high, and I did go for them, so I will say it's a must, especially because summons equates to potentially more legendaries, and who doesn't want more legendaries? So we'll put it in the must category. Let's carry on to the next item right here. This is the legendary artifact. Okay, again, it goes to the same way as the mythic artifact, but the legendary ones, of course, are less power, less base stats by a mile. Okay, like less than half the HP, less than half the attack, I believe. But the artifact skills of this one looks very interesting. Look at that. When taking damage, there's an 8% chance of dealing damage equal to 10% of your max HP to the attacker. So if you go like 50,000 health, that's a 5,000 damage dealt to the attacker. So it's pretty good for your defenders. But again, the mythic artifact I would use more, because my defender is not really there to do the damage. He's there just soak up damage. So I would be preferring the mythical one. I still think this is a good one. And if you feel like the Olaxwell is very out of reach for you, you cannot farm the harder stages, you're still at the very beginning of your account, then, well, yes, go for the legendary one. Unless you find some other, some other reason to buy something else. So let's go over to the tier list, and I'll place this on the maybe pile right here, because I do think it's not as good as the mythical one. Of course, I wouldn't recommend it over maybe something else that we'll cover up in just a second. So let's carry on. Okay, so the legendary, this one, the legendary extracts, I honestly do not value them at all. I wouldn't say it's an absolute no, but for me personally, I've been farming so much of the promotion rates that these seem to have a high drop. So I already have 42. I don't think I'll run out of these anytime soon. And by the time I have more of my heroes promoted to 6, okay, I will have a ton of these. So this feels like a very bad value, especially comparing it to the mythic extract. 300 versus 500. This maybe should have been 100 cost for me to value it as even close to purchasable. So this goes absolutely to the no pile right next to Osiren. And then let's carry on. We have the 5-star psychic power with a 700 cost. This is very big. This equates to a lot of energy spent. A lot of energy spent in the game to get a 5-star. Food required to get your heroes to the next star. So getting them to the 6-star gives them a big boost to their own base stats. I think it's well worth it, but I wouldn't go out of my way, especially if you're very low on funds, either your gems or your energy. But this is very good value, I believe, and it's not that easy to get the drop from this one from the guild boss, although the guild boss did drop one for me so far, and I've only been playing for less than 2 weeks. So back to the tier list. Let's drop it onto the okay pile. I do think is good value, and especially if you don't want to be farming the XP raid, this becomes good value. Okay, so let's carry on to the epic skill crystal. So this is actually very good use, but you do get a lot of this from the tide as you go, I believe, to the 5 or 10 level increments. As you progress through the tide, you do get some of these epic crystals, and especially if you are also doing arena, there is the possibility, I believe, to buy those from arena as well. There's many different areas that you get these, and the epics, you'll find the most difficult way to get your epics to the next, you know, skill upgrade, it is through these right here. So these, the epic skill dust, although you will be getting those in the future, those go way higher in terms of cost, like 90 here. I need 90 plus one of these to get my next skill upgraded. So it does take quite a bit more of the dust compared to the crystal. So I don't think it's a bad price at 200. But again, I'm comparing it to everything else, like the mythic extract. Would I buy 2 of these or even 3 of these for 1 of this? No. So I don't think this is good value. So we go back to the tier list, and I'll place it in the no pile, since I don't think at all the value is there. So carrying on to the next one, we have the Abyssal Pact through gold and the Abyssal Pact through gems. I think the gold one is actually a solid purchase. It does cost 500,000, which is a lot of runs on the gold rate, and 500,000 is not easy to get in this game. But if that means 500,000 for 1 mythic extract, would you do it? Would you buy it? Well, I would. And mythic extracts are hard to get. I have 1 at the moment, and I want to get my heroes promoted to the next one. It gives them a big boost of stats. So I think this is very good value. And then you'll have to consider, okay, how do I get 100,000? Well, 100,000 is 2 or 3 runs of the gold raid. All right, 2 or 3 runs of the gold raid. It's actually 2. I think you get 54k. So 2 runs is like what, 54 energy. 60 gems is 200 energy. So the exchange here becomes way worse when you're just giving up gems. And here you can potentially give 900 gems, which is a 10 pull, but potentially more legendaries. So a 10 pull, would you exchange that for 15 of these chances? Well, 15 chances is at least 1,500 doubloons, right? 1,500 doubloons for all that energy that you'll be losing, or all those summons. Well, energy seems way more. So it's gonna be like 2,000, 3,000 energy, or, you know, 1,500 doubloons. Is that worth it for you? I would say these are only worth it if you feel like you want to get the Alaxwell, you want to get the mythic extracts, you want to get the chickens, right here, the psychic power, whatever they call it, and the battles that we get every day are not enough for you. If they are not enough, then you go for these. But I think both of these are a good value, especially the gold ones. I will be purchasing these as time goes through, but I'll be waiting for the final day before I actually use them. There's no refresh of the shop, it's my understanding, so there's no real reason to go out of your way to buy them right away. Okay, so I'll put this in the okay purchase category. And then we have the multi battles and the gold. If we look at the exchange for both, okay, we're gonna go through it a little bit quicker. Is 150 for these. This is very bad value. 5 auto fight chances for 150, not worth it, guys. 5 of these, you just press the auto fight button on your own, guys. Don't do it. 150 of these, it's just not worth it. Just think about how much effort it is to get you know, 1 5-star to these. All right, so it's just not there. The value is not there for these, at least for me. I don't think it's absolutely not valuable. And then we go to the gold one, 1,000 gold for 10. This looks low, and I would say you will basically use it at the end of the days of the event, when you have only, you know, multiples of 10s here, so you can't buy really anything from the shop. Maybe you'll buy the auto fights, and maybe you'll buy the gold. That's what will happen. So the gold here at 1,000 is kind of a joke. If it was 10,000, maybe we could have a discussion here, But yeah, it's 1,000. It's not worth it. For like 100 of these, you get 10,000. Does that make sense? No. So 1,000 of these is 100,000. So 100,000, which you used to buy one of these, you get 140 doubloons. So definitely not worth it. This will be, as I said, only used at the end when you have multiples of 10s here. So let's say I have 30 by the end of this. I'll use it just to get 3,000 gold, which is absolutely a joke. They should have had it a bit higher. So this goes to my absolutely no pile. And this is the tier list, guys, for the shop. I hope I explained it all to you guys. Of course, if you are a spender, these can be like way easier to get for you. If you are a more casual player, also, you might not even have the time to do your 5 fights a day. And this becomes even more strict than usual. But I absolutely think that the mythic artifact is something that you want to be getting, especially if you're just starting out like me. Like, I have only one mythic artifact and I'm not actively farming them at all at the moment because I know how hard they are to get, and it will take me a long time until I get more of those. So getting one right out from the shop, it's a very unique opportunity, and it looks like a very solid artifact as well to boost up my defenders. So this was the video, guys. If you found it helpful at all, consider subscribing. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.